Hi everyone. In this short video I will show you how to get started with the CodeBlocks IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Okay? So I'll show you where you can go to download it, and then once it's installed I'll show you how to compile your first program and to locate the source code file and executable. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to the CodeBlocks website, which is www.codeblocks.org. Okay. And then once there, you'll see on the left side here, underneath the main submenu, a downloads link. Okay. Click on that, and we're going to want to download CodeBlocks from the binaries page. So go to binaries. Alright, and so depending on which operating system you're using on your computer, you'll want to select one of these four links. Okay, if you're running some version of Windows, you click on the first link and it'll take you to the Windows section. Okay, if you're running some flavor of Linux, 32-bit or 64-bit, click there and it'll take you where you need to go. Although if you're running Linux, you probably don't need any further explanation. Okay, you probably know how to go from here. Okay, but if you're running Mac OS X, click Mac OS X and it'll take you down to the Mac OS area. Okay, so assuming that we're running some version of Windows, we go to the Windows area and we have some options for the file, or for the setup file that we want to download. You just want the first one up here. Okay. And so you can click on either one of these links here and it'll take you to where you need to go to grab the file. Okay. Download it to your desktop, run the setup file, follow the prompts, you'll be good to go. Okay. For Linux, pick your distribution, pick the type of operating system you have, 32-bit or 64-bit, download your preferred tarball and knock yourself out. Okay. Mac OS X, you only have one option here. You can download the zip file, drag the folder to your desktop, and run run CodeBlocks as you would any other program on Mac OS. Okay, I haven't actually installed it on Mac OS X, but if you're running Mac OS X, then this should be easy enough for you to figure out. Okay, if not, stop by my office and we'll figure it out together. Okay, so now that we know where to go get CodeBlocks from and which links we need to use to download it, we should be ready to go. Okay, so once you have that installed, once you've run the setup and you have CodeBlocks on your computer, let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so I have a shortcut on my taskbar here, right, for CodeBlocks, so we'll just click on that. And we'll wait for a second and it's going to open up the CodeBlocks IDE. Now there's a lot of stuff here, but for our purposes we're only going to need a few of the options to get started. Okay, so this start here window, we don't need it, right? So let's go ahead and just close it by clicking on this X here. Okay, and so now we've pretty much got nothing. So whenever we write a C++ program, we have to write all of the commands into a text file. And so we need to go ahead and create that text file. So we can go up along the menu bar here, right, and the far left icon here is new file. We can click that to create a new text file, or we can go to the file menu and select new, and then we want an empty file. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that. Right, so there we go. Now we have a text file. We can type stuff in and we can start writing our program. Okay, but before we do that, let's go ahead and save. Let's save this file. Okay. Somewhere that we can get to it easily enough. Okay, so we can click this save icon here, or we can go to File and then select Save File. Either one will work. Okay, so I'm just going to click the icon. Okay, that opens up the Save File menu, and now we can choose where we want to save this thing. Well, I think I'm going to save it on my desktop so I can find it easier. But I don't want the files just scattered on my desktop, so I'll make a temporary folder. Okay, to store the stuff in. Okay, so new folder, and I'll call it just CB for code blocks. Whatever. Okay, so now let me double click on that. So now I'm in the CB folder, okay, and this is where my file is going to get saved to. Right? It's also where the executable program that I'm going to build is going to be also. So let's name our source code file main.cpp. By convention, that's the usual name. I mean, you could name it anything you want, but it's important to have this .cpp extension at the very end of it. Okay, so main.cpp. Make sure you save it as type C or C++ files. Okay, if you're on a Mac and you do this, this could cause you some issues. In the past, I've had students who were saving it as the wrong file type, and it was giving them some problems. So make sure that you choose C or C++ files, this option here. Okay, so let's go ahead and click the Save button, and we're ready to get started. All right. So for all of your homework assignments, all the programs you write, I'm going to ask that you begin them with 3 lines in comments. Okay, so double / is a comment for a line, and what a comment is, it's a string of text or some text that you can put inside your program that's ignored by the compiler, right? It's only for you or for humans. The computer doesn't care about what you put in comments. So the first line I'm going to ask you to put is your name. Okay. The second line I'm going to ask you to put in here is the course. This is CS 1116. And the third line will usually have the assignment number. Okay. So, for example, if we were in Chapter 2 and I was asking you to do Programming Challenge 3, you would put something like this, 0203. Right? That's for Programming Challenge Chapter 2, number 3. Right? Okay, so we're going to write a program, and all it's going to do is display Hello World to the screen. Okay, it's not going to do anything exciting at this point. We're just writing a simple program to make sure that our install of the CodeBlocks IDE works, and or also so we can demonstrate what we're doing. Okay, so I'll write it out really quick, and then I'll explain a couple of things, and then we'll run it. Okay, so we're going to need preprocessor directive. Okay, we'll learn what those are. We're going to need this using namespace statement. Okay. And then we're going to need our main function. Okay. All right, and then we'll have a statement that will be responsible for displaying the hello world string on the screen. And then we'll put a little pause in here. Keep the window open. We'll see why we need that in a second. Okay, so this is a preprocessor directive, this first line here. Okay. And this is going to give us information. It's going to paste in source code into our main file that'll allow us to use this cout object. Okay, and we'll learn what cout objects are. We'll learn what preprocessor directives are. But this preprocessor directive is going to allow us, it's going to give us the tools to be able to print out hello world to the screen. Okay, all of your programs are going to have using namespace std in them. Just take my word for it, we need it. Namespaces are beyond the scope of this course. Okay. All right, and so finally, all C++ programs begin inside the int main function. Okay, you could have multiple files, but every single program is going to start here. Okay, and programs, once you run them, right, they go into int main, and then they execute commands line by line from the top down. So line 11 is executed first here, right? So cout hello world is going to print hello world to the screen. White space is ignored by the compiler, so we just skip line 12. It's going to skip line 12, and then it's going to go and execute line 13, which is a cin.get statement, and that's going to keep the window open for us when we run the program from within Windows. Okay, and then return 0 is a statement that marks the end of the program. As soon as this statement is executed, the program finishes and gives this number here, 0, back to the operating system. All right, so our program's ready to go. We're ready to test it. So now we need to build it and run it. And we can do that all in one step by clicking on this icon right here. Okay, it looks like a little toothed wheel and a green triangle. Okay, so when we click on that, if everything goes right, oops, let me talk about that in a second. If everything goes right, it should execute and give us what we need. Okay. If you get something like this, a little window like this, right? This is my antivirus software. Okay. The main.exe that's run, AVG doesn't know what it is. AVG is my antivirus software. Obviously this isn't a virus, we just wrote it ourselves. So let's click ignore the threat here. Okay. And let's close this window, hit enter to continue. And so I'm just going to temporarily disable my antivirus so that doesn't happen again. Okay. All right. So let's disable it until I restart. Whatever. Okay. Whatever interval of time will work for you. Okay. So if you get that message, just temporarily disable your antivirus software, and then you can continue and it'll work. Okay. So now let's try it again. Build and run. Okay. There we go. Hello world. Okay. Alright, so hello world was run, corresponding to the cout statement. It's waiting now, it's pausing right now, right, because of this cin.get statement. When I hit that, the program finishes. Okay. These last two lines here are tacked on by code blocks. There's a little bit of information here, let you know how long the program ran for, and then there's a little prompt here, press any key to continue. So if you hit like enter or something like that, it'll close the window and you're done. Okay, so let me show you what it would look like if we had a syntax error. Okay, syntax errors are errors that basically it's an error in the rules. Okay, syntax is the rules for how you write programs. So if I do this, suddenly I've broken a rule. Okay, I've created a syntax error. This is incorrect. Okay, so now let me try to build it and run it. See what happens. Okay, no window pops up. This red block appears indicating the general area of where the syntax error is. It's not always reliable, but it's a starting point. Okay. We go down to the build messages window down here. Okay. And we can see some information. Okay. This is indicating that something's going on around line 11. Okay. And then there's a summary that says build failed. There's at least one error. Okay. And then a warning. Okay. So these error messages can be cryptic, but if you get them, then something went wrong. Okay. So let me go back up here and fix this. Okay, save it, and I'll build it, run it, and everything's fine. All right. So let me show you now where the executable is and where you can find the file that you'll need to submit for homework. Okay. Alright, so if I hop into Windows Explorer and I go to my desktop, we'll see there's the CB folder that I created. Okay. Go in there, and here's the main.cpp file, and here's the program file that was created. Okay, so if I double click that, main.exe, you'll see that the program executes. Hello world was the cout statement, cin.get is pausing it to keep it open. Now if I hit enter, it closes. Okay. So you'll see, now let's take a look at inside main.cpp, and you'll see that it's just a plain old text file. Okay, I can open this with any text editor. Let's do it with Notepad. Okay, there it is. Okay, so an IDE just has its own integrated text editor. It has a compiler and other programs for helping you build the program, and also some other tools for making your life easier. Okay. Main.o is the object code, which you'll learn about. Okay. It's kind of an intermediate step between main.cpp and main.exe. It gets created as part of the compiling process. We'll learn about that. Right? So that brings us to the conclusion of our short little video here. So now you should know how to go to the CodeBlocks website, right, where to find the file you need to download to install it. You can now find the link to actually click on it, get it going, start the program, and or start the IDE, and then you can write your first simple program and build it. You know what an error message looks like, right, if something goes wrong, and you know where to locate the source code file in the executable. Okay. So as always, if you have any questions, shoot me an email or ask in class. Stop by office hours. Be more than happy to give you a hand. All right. Okay. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.